All right, so today I wanted to basically go over this. I guess basically an intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity survey. It's I believe it's mandatory in all Florida-based universities. I attend UF online, and I thought, I mean, this survey is part of the whole. It's a product of the whole. Every university campus is, uh, nothing but communists or socialists. That whole, uh, we'll call it a perspective, I guess. Anyways, I started doing this survey, and I realized how kind of, I mean, for one, it is very pointless. It's all optional. You don't actually have to fill this out. And yeah, yeah, there's a lot of concerns I have with it. For one, like if every student doesn't fill it out, you have a statistic that is possibly very skewed in one direction or the other. If you're not getting an entire sample that's actually representative of the student population and what good is it. But anyways, I wanted to go through it on the video here and just kind of let you, the viewer, see what we, the students, see, I guess. Anyways, question number one, of course, are you online, in person, whatsoever? I'm all online, so there's that. And then, yeah, so here's the first question. I feel it's important to be able to express my political viewpoints about fear of negative consequences. Um, I mostly agree with it. I mean, there are certain political viewpoints that probably should keep to yourself. If you're for example, if you believe in believe the Holocaust was real, if you believe that you know mass extermination of peoples is a good idea, it's probably not something that is beneficial to anyone to have spoken, in public in a university situation. I mean, having a conversation or a discussion on historical events is one thing, but uh, vocally supporting something like that would be kind of insane. I'm not saying that there's a lot of people that believe that. There's certainly some people who believe it. And so the point being is that there's college campuses are a good place to have a dialogue and a conversation about different viewpoints, different ideologies, perspectives. But uh, I think just for the benefit of everyone, there should be certain limitations on that speech. And for one, you know, I don't think that the majority of people at universities or in college campuses are um, they're probably not actually, they probably haven't fully developed their own viewpoints and their own ideologies. So I think it's better for everyone to do more listening and expressing, you know, like listen to your professors, your teachers, see what see what their perspective is, and then kind of just build on what you know, what you believe, grow as a person, which is kind of the whole point of uh, higher education. So, anyways, I would agree for that one. That's if you had to choose, is it more important for colleges or universities to prohibit offensive speech on campus that is biased against certain groups, or expose students to all viewpoints, even if they are offensive or biased against certain groups? I think this is a question that made me decide to just make a video because, um, I mean, obviously, like, what good does offensive speech do to anyone? If you're, let's just for an example, if you're uh, saying you hate all religions, or you hate specific religions, or you hate specific types of people. I mean, I don't think exposing students to that kind of viewpoint is beneficial, you know? Um, and also it's like, I think the real question I had is how do you categorize offensive speech? hate speech, or like, are you saying offensive speech is just saying that one religion is more uh violent than another, or one group of people is this, like, what exactly is the definition of offensive speech as it is used in this question? That it's just kind of ambiguous in that regard. So for me, when I say offensive speech, I'm thinking hate speech. I'm thinking something that's going to be used to try to dehumanize another person or another group of people. And I would say that that's not something that should be in college campuses. You know, but it is also important to expose students to different types of views, even if they're biased. But offensive, again, that's where I would question, you know, what exactly, where's the line? What, you know, there's a certain point where offensive speech really isn't uh, beneficial to anyone, I don't think. So, uh, so if I had to pick one, I'd choose the top one. But the asterisk of that is, if it's just anything that you don't like, I mean, that's another potential definition. It's, something I just disagree with. I find it offensive. It's like, well, it's not really offensive speech, in my opinion, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm kind of getting caught up on these questions, but this is a meaningless survey anyways. I'm just gonna move on. Which of the following statements comes closer to my own personal opinion? Speech is violence. It should be treated as such by the university. Or it is important for a healthy campus life that the distinctions between speech and violence are maintained. I probably lean towards the second bullet on this one. Speech isn't violence per se, but it is, or can be used as a form of aggression. I don't think that aggressive behavior or hateful behavior is suitable or um, allowable at a university or college campus. I mean, the whole point of these places are to sort of get a community of people who are all seeking to learn more about a particular discipline, or how to navigate the world. I just, I don't see how uh, aggressive speech or violent speech is important in that, but I'll stick with the second bullet point here just because I think that I don't know. Again, I'm getting caught up in these questions, but I do think it's kind of stupid that I think these questions are all. I mean, I don't know who puts these together. I don't know if it's my university or if it's something that the state just basically forces the universities to adopt. But the questions are very just kind of loaded. It just seems like this whole survey, which it is part of a uh, political backlash. It's just a one cog in the whole cultural war uh, crap that is unfortunately in all of our lives now. Um, but yeah, let's move on. Which of these statements comes closer to your own opinion? Political correctness helps people avoid offending others. Political correctness has silenced important discussions our society needs to have. I Oddly enough, I kind of disagree with both of these. Um, I feel like we do have plenty of important discussion, and I do think that, like the discussions that need to be had are had. I feel like, perhaps not, you know, in your household, but in the world at large, the conversation should happen at the same time. Like as the first bullet says, having a sort of, I guess, just being aware of certain things. You can call it political correctness. You can call it just being uh, empathetic, I guess, just being aware of sensitivities or what have you, um, is a good thing. So like I guess I would have to go with the first one. It's probably making me look like one of those college far left people, as the Republicans would say. Uh, but yeah, I don't think political correctness is like as bad as people claim it is. Like, cancel culture this, cancel culture that. Like, how many people have been canceled, but they still do fine. They're still in movies. They're still having comedy specials. They're still doing this or that. Like, this is something to get mad about. And I don't think that political correctness has silenced important discussions personally. But moving on to question number 6 of this pointless survey, which will not be used to do anything. Although, depending on how the results come out, it might be used in the political ad for a particular party. My college or university campus provides an environment for free expression of ideas, opinions, and beliefs. I do agree with that. I've in my classes at UF, I have encountered people from multiple backgrounds, multiple ideologies, conservative or liberal, and the conversations happen fine. There's no issues. There's nothing. I think, in my opinion, at least, in my program, I am in a master's program, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I feel like everyone's adults in the program. Everyone is an adult. Everyone is mature. I think that helps, which is something that is kind of lacking probably in some of the undergraduate uh, programs, or this first couple of years. I think that's where you get a lot of people who think they know everything about the world. They have an opinion on it, and that's either side of the aisle politically. And I think that's where you get a lot of good YouTube videos of people getting into those conversations. But anyways, moving on to question number 7. I see examples of free and welcome speech or welcome expressions, such as speeches, debates with other students or instructors, class assignments in my classroom. Yeah, discussion posts with comment threads that go on about this or that, or we have uh, Zoom calls or meetings where we'll chime in on this or that, and everyone's respectful and everyone is welcomed. So my professors or course instructors use class time to express their own social or political beliefs without objectively discussing opposing social or political beliefs. Okay, I'm gonna read that one more time because, yeah, my professors or course instructors use class time to express their own social or political beliefs without objectively discussing. All right, so basically, do the teachers impose their own worldview, uh, despite objective alternatives, or I guess objective rebuttals, whatever you want to call it. But basically, the teacher trying to just, for lack of better words, impose their ideology on you, the student. And I mean, I would say disagree for this. I do have teachers that have. I'm just got strong disagree. I've got teachers that definitely have a opinion, but their their modules, their coursework, it's all structured with like peer reviewed articles. I mean, it's not like there is objective uh, or there are facts behind some of the topics that they bring up, I guess. And there are also opposing viewpoints, like, well, it's really great for this, but this is where it's lacking. This is where it could use some updates, perhaps. I don't. I've never felt like I've had a teacher or professor that was like trying to cram their beliefs on me, and like I've only ever had one teacher, not at the university supporter, that I thought might actually possibly fit this category. But even I was in a different school, and it was still an interesting class. It's just it did seem like part of the class was kind of restructured to sort of push, not, I don't want to say push an area, but push an issue. And I don't want to really go into detail on that, but uh, regarding this particular uh, program, I mean, I think everyone's very objective and level-headed, and like anyone, the teachers do have their own opinions, their own perspectives, and they, when they can, they seek to, I guess, push those perspectives when possible. I am in also, like, I guess for the record, I'm in an urban planning program, so some of those perspectives might be, public transportation, this or that, but then there's also like a little bit of discussion on, oh, well, yeah, public transportation is nice, but it'd be nice to have it in this particular area, but the density of the area doesn't suit it, so it's not really a thing that we could reasonably push for. So there's uh, beliefs, opinions, but it's also kind of grounded by a sort of understanding of the reality of the world, the area, and yeah. All right, next question. Students at my college or university are encouraged to consider a wide variety of viewpoints and perspectives. Um, I guess I agree for the most part. I mean, in my coursework, there's not really a whole lot of variety, I guess, when it comes to planning. It's, I don't want to say it's rigid necessarily, but it's an institutional thing, and it's bureaucratic, and probably can use some reforms, but it is what it is. So most of what I learned is just history of planning and uh, possible influences on future planning, stuff like that. So there are multiple viewpoints on that, but the future planning could look like a lot of idealistic uh, possibilities, most of which would probably never see the light of day, but they're interesting to study regardless, because you can always take aspects of this or that and then apply that where you can. So yeah, I'd say I agree. I feel comfortable speaking up and giving my viewpoints on non-controversial topics. Yeah, I mean, it's easier to do also online because the discussion is all going to be online, so it's less likely for confrontation. But when I took in-person classes at a different school, I mean, I'm kind of more introverted, so I'm not really big on jumping into a conversation. I'd rather listen, but even in my in-person classes, those conversations kind of go all over the place. There are multiple perspectives there, and I don't think anyone felt uh, worried or anxious about speaking out. I feel comfortable speaking up it's on controversial topics. The difference between the last question and this one is the controversy subject. I mean, I would say agree, not strongly agree, only because I personally prefer not to jump into controversial topics with people that I don't know that well. Like I love, I mean, I didn't love politics, but I enjoy studying politics, political history, just like religion. I've read a lot about religion. I enjoy having conversations on politics and or religion with people who are at least somewhat grounded in reality. But if I don't know you, I'm less likely to jump into that conversation just because it's, people can get heated talking about these kind of things, and I don't get heated, but I, I've seen it happen, and I'd rather avoid conflict where I can. And I'm also introverted, so that's another reason why I'm not big on speaking up about anything. But if I were extroverted, then I don't think I'd have a problem. I don't think there'd be an issue. Any issue about speaking out on topics at university for me is all internal, not institution. So, yeah. On your campus, how often have you felt that you could not express your opinion on a subject because of how students, professor, or the administration would respond. This is an interesting question because, well, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to answer this because I've never actually been at the USF, or at the UF campus, but I know, I want to say last year, we got a new president, or was it this year? The current president of UF is a guy named Ben Sass. He was a Republican senator from some state in the middle of the country, Nebraska, I think. It's one of in that area. I think it's Nebraska. I could be wrong, but anyways, it caused quite a kerfuffle because he's Republican, very conservative on social issues, and I mean it's obviously most college campuses do tend to lean left. That doesn't mean that they're ideologically communist. Just means that people that go to school tend to be more minded, they tend to be more liberal in their beliefs, and so you see this kind of like that kind of environment or community with a leader who's kind of, I don't want to say antithetical to it, but just more the other side of the aisle, I guess you could say. Anyways, I think after that, I think some people might have felt like, okay, like what does this mean for the university, for interactions, given his political beliefs, like how will things change? Like for me personally, I don't go to the campus. So I don't really know what campus life was like or how it's changed. So like for me, like I don't think that I would, when it comes to how often have I felt that I could not express myself, I'd say probably never. I don't think even now I would have an issue just because like the community itself hasn't changed, just the smooth leadership. So I think it would be okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. How often have you not spoken up on campus because you thought your opinion would be unwelcome? It's another question. I haven't been on campus. I answered the first question. I'm all in line. Never. I mean, I guess also it kind of depends on circumstance. Like if I did go to campus, like how often have I not spoken up because of opinion was unwelcome? Like, does this apply to the classroom, like classroom setting, or is it more of like, say, there's a student protest against the visitor or something, and the context kind of matters for a lot of these questions. It's just left so ambiguous that I don't see how the results of these surveys can really be meaningful in any way. I would expect if I went to a protest, started telling this group of protesters that I thought they were wrong, like that might not go too well. But whatever the protest topic is, that whoever's protesting generally doesn't want to be told that they're wrong. But I've never been in that circumstance, so I don't know what that would even be like or anything care. Question number 14. My college or university doing a good job when it comes to promoting or encouraging diverse political viewpoints. Yeah, but I would say I agree. I mean, again, like when it comes to my particular discipline, the diverse viewpoints are there's not that many. I mean, I guess it's either high density or low density developments, like I said, not much variation there. I would be concerned if most of my professors or course instructors held the same political beliefs. Disagree. I don't really care personally about my instructors' personal political beliefs. In my own personal life, I know plenty of people that are Democrats, people that are Republicans, people that are like diehard Trump Republicans, like but diehard Biden Democrat. Like I live in Florida. I interact with a lot of people all across the spectrum of politics. As long as the instructor is giving me factual information, I don't care what they believe. So I'll leave it at that. I have felt intimidated to share my ideas or beliefs because they were different from that of my professor. Disagree. I have never felt intimidated by any of my professors. My professors, of course, instructors are generally more, if I'm being completely honest, if I were to, at UF, I've had probably 9 or 10 instructors since I've been there. And if I had to make a general guess, I'd say that most planners tend to be more liberal than conservative, just because you know, it just kind of works out that way for one reason or another. You don't see conservatives lobbying for the kind of changes that most planners want to see, like public transportation or uh, mixed use planning. That's 15-minute cities, which are scary to some people, but are appealing to most other people. 15-minute city being a place or town of neighborhood where you can basically get everything that you need in your life within a 15-minute walk. So basically imagine you can walk right out of your front door of your house. And within 15 minutes, you can get a grocery store, doctor's office, whatever you need, really. Basically all your amenities, and it's all within walking distance. And I mean, for one, it's kind of a practice of sustainable urbanism. It's environmentally friendly. It's just all around. It's a healthier lifestyle. It's cheaper. I mean, car dependency hasn't really been the greatest thing in the world. I mean, I love driving on the interstate when there's no traffic. I love driving across the country. I have fond memories driving from Florida to California, Virginia, Carolina, and I want to do that again. But it's also nice to just walk out of my apartment and go to the grocery store or go to the coffee shop and be there within 15 minutes. It's well, you look in my opinion, but that's my perspective. I think that's generally the perspective of most planners. I don't want to speak for all planners because I know of planners that are against higher density developments. They're against multifamily units. They're against the things I just stated. More the conservative viewpoint when it comes to planning is rather than changing anything or moving things in a direction towards what I would call progress. It's more of maintaining the status quo and maintaining what we have currently, not changing anything, not changing the footprint, not changing this or that. And so I think that it kind of goes back to the core of what conservatism or liberalism is. Conservatism is more reaction, liberalism is more action, and I think that's what I see planners that are more liberal. And so for that reason, I'd say most of my professors are probably more liberal, generally speaking, but I don't actually know what their beliefs are. Like I said, I've had 9 or 10 instructors. I would say one of them is probably pretty liberal. Or actually, I'd say 2. Probably should have written this down. I didn't actually go through this question beforehand, so I'm kind of seeing it in real time, thinking about it in real time. I'd say that I definitely have probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 instructors that I would classify as liberal. And I would say about 6 that I don't know. It's possible that they're liberal. It's possible that they're more moderate, whatever that necessarily would fit on that spectrum. I mean, none of my professors have come off as conservative, but like I said, there aren't many conservative planners, which is kind of surprising to me because when it comes to planning projects, conservatives tend to be the ones who show up to local meetings to try to slow down, stop, or stall projects because of the change that they caused. But anyways, I would guess they're more liberal. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just is. The controversy of offensive speech would occur on your campus. How likely is it the administration would defend the speaker's right to express their views? Now, this is another thing where it comes to like, what do you mean by offensive speech? If I start running through campus shouting, hate slurs, words that start with a particular letter right after "in," like if I start doing that on campus, I mean that's not really defensible, right? But that's offensive speech. So, or do you mean offensive speech as in, running on around along campus saying by 2024 or Trump 2024? Like, I don't view that as offensive speech. I just view it as some annoying person on the side of the walkway as I'm trying to get to class. So yeah, because of that ambiguity, I hate these questions, you know, and so I'm gonna put not sure because I don't even know what they mean by offensive speech. It's just such a large, it's just such a broad, undefined term. Another reason I hate this survey, which is meaningless. I've already been probably doing this for 25 minutes and I still got 66% of the survey to go. So I'm gonna go through this. Okay, censorship. Ooh, that's a scary word. My college or university is generally more tolerant of liberal ideas and beliefs, more tolerant of conservative ideas and beliefs, equally tolerant of liberal and conservative ideals and beliefs. I mean, again, like when it comes to my practice, I don't know what the conservative version of planning is or what the liberal version of planning is. It's just planning as it's been practiced out in modern cities. I mean, I'm going to say it's been tolerant of both. I mean, there's been expressed viewpoints have been expressed about why certain areas are resistant to change or why certain areas are not good for that kind of change. But I mean, it's again, I'm just going to go back to saying that this whole survey is political fodder for some future commercial for some particular candidate. Because in reality, like it's hard to break down. Like if you're taking a math class, how does that break down? Was was my mathematical content more conservative or liberal? What the hell does that mean? It doesn't just break down that way. I mean, there's taking a class on ethics, maybe class on American history, maybe. I mean, um, how acceptable would you say it is for students to engage in the following action? Protest a campus speaker, shouting down a speaker, or trying to prevent them from speaking on campus. Um, I think I don't really have an issue with people speaking on campus. I mean, I don't think you'd want. I don't see an issue with it. So I would say should probably never do that. And mostly because if the whole perspective is to try to not let the speaker talk, like you're kind of like amplifying them as a individual by doing this. You know, so yeah, I'd say like there's a number of people that go to college campuses to try to debate the local students, to talk politics, this or that. It, it at the end of the day, it's kind of just meaningless BS anyways. Like just let them talk, ignore them, let whoever believes them go out, hear what they have to say. You don't. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal. How acceptable would you say it is for students to engage in the following action to protest a campus speaker? Blocking out the students from attending a campus speech. Yeah, if somebody tried to block me from going to a speech, I'd be pretty upset. So yeah. Using violence to stop a campus. Yeah. Nope. I'm not a very violent person myself. I don't believe in violence. So yeah. probably should, I mean, I believe that violence it exists in the world. I just would rather not partake in violence myself. That's kind of all I'm saying, but of course, uh, yeah, not acceptable. Like violence has no place on a college campus. How should colleges or universities handle students who disrupt invited speakers and prevent them from speaking? Disrupt. Yeah, in a situation like this, you probably have to remove them from the premise. Um, yeah, I think having them arrested, but if it's just the yelling part, you shouldn't be arrested or expelled. Um, Good morning. Yeah, I guess that's, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like, I don't know. Like, if it's a one-time thing, then like, maybe suspend the student. There you go. But if it's a repeat thing, then maybe explore arrest or expulsion, but, of course, again, ambiguous. Have you received training from staff or faculty at your college on free expression policies? I don't think so. If I'm being honest, every online class has a section where you gotta do all these. Uh, you gotta check this off, check that off, and I don't remember any of it because, I know like, I guess I'll put yes to that. There are, at the beginning, you have to accept that, uh, they do some stuff. I don't pay attention to it because I don't care, but, yeah, there are policies for it. How comfortable do you feel doing the following on campus? Publicly disagreeing with professor about a controversial topic. Maybe it's somewhat comfortable. I mean, obviously, it's like, disagreeing with an elder. So it's not like you're on equal footing. If you're disagreeing with your professor, it's. Although, I mean, I've had professors before that kind of treated students as if they were equals. I think those are the best environments because you can get a conversation going, where we all see each other as, you know, adult, mature professionals. We can have a conversation that's actually really entertaining and also insightful. Like those are amazing, and I think that's really what is of most value at college campuses. But when it comes to publicly disagreeing with a professor about a controversial topic, like you gotta kind of explain, it's a class of politics, saying I disagree with you because, I don't think Medicare for all should exist, or I don't think that a border wall should exist. Like, it depends on the topic. I feel like. It's like an opinion's an opinion, but if it's a, it's like, oh, I disagree with, I don't know, the Holocaust, or I disagree with this recounting of history. I think that Abraham Lincoln dealt with the former southern slave states with a bad thing. Like I don't know, like the context again is kind of clearer and like what do you mean a controversy? Is it conversation on abortion? Like, anyways, moving on. I mean, just in conclusion to that last question, I don't think it'd be an issue. I think professors are almost trained to incite discussion and get responses from people. So yeah, I don't think a teacher's going to shut you down for that, not unless you're getting violent or aggressive in the way that you communicate. How comfortable would you feel doing the following on a campus? Expressing disagreement with one of your professors about a controversial topic in your written assignment. I'd say very comfortable. I mean, of course, me personally think it's not direct. I don't know much more comfortable doing it. How comfortable do you feel doing the following on campus? Expressing your views on controversial topic during an in-class discussion. Somewhat comfortable because I'm generally not getting involved in those conversations anyways, unless I'm forced to. But if I do have to get involved, I'm gonna say my opinion, my thoughts, whatever is requested, and I'm not gonna really have any fear on that. How comfortable would you feel doing expressing your views on a controversial political topic to other students during class discussion of accomplish. Let me rephrase that. Expressing your views on a controversial political topic to other students during a discussion in a common campus space, such as, okay, so this is basically you're in a group of other students in a common area. Comfortable, if you will. I mean, I've never really, no, I've had a number of in-person classes, but I've never hung out in common areas. I never stayed at dorm rooms or anything like that, so I never had that kind of college experience. And now I'm very disconnected from college, so I even have less of an experience now. So I just go back to my standards. So I'm comfortable, you know, if I'm interacting with strangers, I'm like, I can only ask some questions. I might not be necessarily comfortable, but I'm not going to be worried about having somebody punch me, if that's what the question is kind of referring to. How comfortable do you feel following on campus, expressing an unpopular opinion to your fellow students on a social media account tied to your name? I mean, comfortable, I guess, yeah. It's my social media, I don't really do that much, but I don't really care. You disagree or agree with the following statement: my college or university should discipline students who deliberately disrupt class or events to prevent the voicing of the news which they disagree with. Yeah. Anyone that shuts down a conversation is not really very beneficial to the class. You know, again, I'm gonna kind of fall back on this whole questionnaire is kind of structured in a way that I think is supposed to make college campuses look like far left hellholes. I think that it's not quite like that. I think this questionnaire is pointless. But have you been socially excluded due to any of the following actions: sharing your political views, having been a member of an organization, posting on social media, attending on campus? None of the above, for reasons that I've already communicated. Have you experienced threats or harassments from fellow students? Nope, for the same reasons. Have you lost friends on campus because of your political views? I really haven't made any friends on college campuses, which is unfortunate because a lot of people they do a lot of networking on campuses, but you know the unfortunate reality of online classes is that it's harder to build those kind of networks. Yeah, I haven't actually been to an in-person class since 2022. And that was shortly after classes went back on back in person after the COVID lockdowns. Of course, there's a ambulance right outside my apartment. All right, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? It's hard to be friends with people who voted for Donald Trump. Sure, this is straight from the request of Ron DeSantis or something. I mean, half my family supports Donald Trump. I've got friends that support Donald Trump. I personally don't care for the guy. I personally think that he's a selfish businessman trying to prolong his own power. And I could go on, but I'm not going to. But the point being is, I can still communicate with people who believe in him and him to be president. Just because, I mean, partly it's like I don't really have much of a choice, but it's also just I'm not gonna disown friends because of that. So, I mean, is it like a red flag that I kind of think about from time to time? It's like, yeah, sure. I mean, it means that their perspective might be a little skewed on this or that. I might be a little more, you know, it's kind of funny. I might walk on eggshells around certain topics. I might be politically correct around to try to avoid any kind of not conflict or confrontation, but just perhaps conversation. You know, when it comes to talking about particular issues. I have talked with people who are firm Trump supporters about politics. It can get heated from time to time. You know, I stay calm, collected. Other people don't, and there's a it tends to be a break in I guess you could say perceived realities. You know, there's two worlds in many ways. I'm very logical, rational for the most part. Uh, I, I live in the world around me, the world that is tangible and real, and not everyone does. I guess I'll just leave it at that. But is it hard for me to be friends with people who vote for Donald Trump? No, it's not. I mean, I wonder about them, like, what, why? But I'm not gonna. So it's hard to be friends with people who voted for Joe Biden. Well, I can be friends with somebody who voted for Donald Trump. I can be friends with somebody who voted for Joe Biden. How worried are you about damaging your reputation if someone misunderstands something that you have said or done? Not very worried. Um, yeah, but things you say can always be misinterpreted, but then you just follow it up with a more clear and precise explanation. How often have you witnessed a student with liberal or progressive beliefs receive uncivil treatment for expressing them? So, I mean, again, I'm online, so I've never really seen anything like this. Ditto when it comes to conservative beliefs, so I've never seen that. Identify your enrollment status as full-time. At least my last semester as a full-time student. Thankfully, I am quite white. Let's see. Not Hispanic, although recent ancestry report showed that I had a certain percentage from the Basque region of Spain. So, no, I'm gonna see it now. Currently a male, State University. Current level study. I mean, I'm in a graduate program. I guess it's current level study. What do you think the political views of the average student on campus are small and scale? I'll go with somewhat liberal. I don't think from the interactions I've had, I don't think my classmates are all communists. I mean, yeah, it's not like every class is a discussion about how to bring about the revolution and end capitalism. It's just a bunch of people trying to get a degree and make a living. So, what do you think of political views of the average professor? I'm gonna say somewhat liberal. Yes, yeah. Political views of the average administrator. So that I really don't know. I mean, again, when you get to the higher up leadership, like I said, the current president of the university is a former Republican senator, so. I mean, I really don't know. I'm just guessing here. Generally speaking, do you approve of your college or university stances on political and moral issues, whether controversial or not? I don't. That's a good question. You know, a lot of universities came out with statements on the whole Israel Gaza issue or Israel Palestine issue, and a lot of cities are doing the same thing. You know, making a motion to speak out against this or that. It's all at the end of the day just meaningless gestures. I mean, you can say that they're not meaningless. You can say that yeah, collectively they have a purpose. It's the entire education, uh, institution of education, all universities. They all were to band together. That is a substantial. That's a substantially large group of professors, administrators, whatever. And certainly there could be some good that come out of that, but I think overall, if the whole Israel-Palestine issue comes to anything regarding universities, it's that probably speaking out and making statements is not in the best interest from the administration. I mean, you kind of have to let the students protest, so not violent, not causing issues. But I don't think you need university presidents jumping in on this or that because it's kind of not really their place, in my opinion. Some of their purposes. So I'll say someone disapprove. Also, I might also misinterpret this question. It could be saying, do I approve of what the university has said? Not necessarily that the university should say something. Still not stick with some disapprove. I'd rather universities not make statements on, most issues, I guess. I mean, a lot of these, political topics, whether it's internal, domestic, or international, they make great conversation pieces in the classroom. You know, I've seen, I want to say there's a professor that he recorded his segments on the Palestinian issue, put that on YouTube, and there's people chiming with questions, and it's all very cordial, and I think it's great. I think a lot of people learn from it, and having multiple perspectives on it. People, I like this in particular, this Palestinian Israeli issue, having Israelis and Palestinians, people in the West Bank, people in Gaza, people from different lived experiences. I think you can have a really interesting conversation with those perspectives. But yeah, I don't see the point in the university itself making a blanket statement that's generally not going to do anything. A recent national survey of university faculty found that 56% of professors are Democrats, 60% are independent, 27% are Republican. National polling recent years that Democrats and Republicans evenly split. Are you going to see what the following statement by college or university should take action to promote political diversity, but instead? It's kind of funny. It sounds like, so I guess if you would say that you agree that political diversity should be important among faculty, then that means you would probably be in favor of some kind of like DEI program to promote diversity of political opinion, which is probably not what was meant by this question here, but I think it's kind of funny. I agree with that statement. I mean, I don't think political opinion is necessarily something that should be important. Like, I mean, yeah. But the real question is, do they know the subjects that they're speaking about? If I work at a college, university, whatever, I'm in charge of finding the next calculus teacher. I don't care what the political opinions are. I just want to know if they know calculus. Can they explain calculus? Can they, can I explain the humanities classes, Eastern philosophy, explain European history, business management skills. I mean, what have you? It's the subjects that they're teaching that really is most important. So, does that mean you should only hire liberals or conservatives? No, it means that political viewpoints aren't important. What is your political? Oh, I don't know if I should put this on here. If you haven't figured it out already, I am actually a registered Democrat. Feel free to leave some hate in the comments if you want. How would you describe a political viewpoint? Yeah, I mean, don't know, it's kind of funny, like, I don't, what's the difference between slightly liberal and somewhat liberal? Like, the slightly liberal want like a $12 minimum wage, but somewhat liberal wants a $14 minimum wage, but very liberal wants a $20 minimum wage. Or somewhat liberal doesn't want expanded access to healthcare, but very liberal does. You know what I mean? Like, trying to slap one of these labels on you. It's very liberal, you know, you're in favor of trans rights, but you're slightly liberal. Maybe not as much. Like, I'm I'm just gonna, there you go, very liberal. I'm very liberal. Let's go with that. Why not? It's all being able to say, how many friends on campus do you have who adhere to a different global ideology? So this is not more like that. I don't know anyone on campus, so I would say that none of them have different real ideology, but that would make it sound like everyone is, you know, I say about half. It's a very even-handed approach. All right, that's a very important survey has been completed. The results of which will probably never actually be used to do anything because, you know, that's, you know, I don't know. In closing, final thoughts here. College campuses are for learning. They're for networking. They're for meeting new people, meeting new perspectives, new worldviews, new lived experiences, new ideologies. They are a melting pot of humanity. And most of the people that seek out that kind of atmosphere are open-minded. Most people that seek out that kind of atmosphere are not reactionary. They tend to be actionary, which I've already mentioned is a bit more of a liberal perspective on world views. It's action versus reaction. And so, yeah, it's not really that difficult to understand. I think anyone listening to this probably gets it. I think it's just more of, you know, all of this whole survey, everything about college campuses. It's just culture war stuff. One of these days, maybe I'll make a video on it. I've thought about it multiple times. I've made multiple videos on it, but I just never really liked the final project. So, yeah. One of these days. All right. Anyways, have a great evening, great night, great morning, whatever, whatever the time is wherever you are. And keep an open mind. Listen to others. We're not all right about everything all the time. So, yeah. See you next time.